So by now, a lot of people know that this Tyler boy was a member of the extreme alt-right and a Nick Fuentes superfan and identified as a Groyper, and I am so sorry for you if you Googled what that is and you had to find out this way.
There's a lot of problems with this scenario. So let's start with the number of things that I have issues with. Like, obviously, one thing I have issue with is these guys with the hand signs, okay? These guys with the hand signs, it's fucking weird, all right? That literally, there's cap, ear, this guy steps forward, and the minute he does that arm thing, Kirk gets blown away. That's fucking weird. This guy stepping forward, looking both directions. Those hand signs are weird. Number two, weird, is there was no autopsy. That's weird. It's weird to not have an autopsy, right? No autopsy. It goes right to this casket and her weird fucking video, like Mother Kirk. That is strange. I have never seen a high-profile murder case of any kind that did not have a big lead up to the autopsy and everything was publicly released. Like, how do you know the bullet that killed Charlie came from that gun? You don't without an autopsy. How do you know the bullet came from the front? You don't without an autopsy. An autopsy tells you where the bullet came from, where it entered, where it exited, how he died, what the bullet was. That's how you prove there's no way they can tie the gun being fired to his death without an autopsy showing that the bullet from that gun is the bullet that tore through Charlie's body. I mean, this is literally like first grade shit. You cannot have a murder case with a murder victim without an autopsy. It's just like walking in there completely unprepared. Okay? It's not like, oh, we know how they died. Knowing how they died doesn't matter. You need like all of that evidence. The prosecutors do. That's strange. Okay? The other thing is he went to the hospital in a private car, not an ambulance. Like, they didn't even have an ambulance on hold there. They always have an ambulance parked right next to the people. That's normal precautions. That's weird. Now, the other thing that's weird about this, guys, and bear with me here, this is what is so freaky. Why is the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, a Republican politician, the guy that is a spokesperson doing PR for this case and releasing all this information and bit by bit? Oh, leftist ideology. Oh, we've got things from the family. What is that? You never do that. The person handling the case is normally an FBI spokesman, a local police spokesman, right? Maybe the attorney general who's going to be part of prosecuting this case, someone in the AG's office of Utah. But the governor himself is out there doing the PR, going on there slowly leaking information about this. The story's changing every day. This is fucking weird, guys. It is unprecedented. And then they're claiming this leftist ideology, but we've seen no evidence. And that shit today of 𝗙ście Patel, did you see the shit today from 𝗙ście Patel? Like, this is insane, bro. Most insane thing I've ever seen in a murder case whatsoever is this declaration.
Written note, did he write a written note before the assassination attempt? That's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say, if you could share?
So what I'm able to say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, did exist. And we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location, in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
Dude, did you hear that? So 𝗙𝗏𝗄 Patel said they have some confirmation that he wrote a note before the shooting saying he was going to do it. The note was destroyed, but they have confirmed the note existed, and they did some forensic proof to know exactly what's in that note. Dude, what? No! Are you fucking shitting me? That is the most insane claim I have ever seen. We have a note, the note was destroyed, but we have proof the note existed and said this shit. We know exactly what it said. But the note was destroyed, but we forensically were able to figure out what was on it. Like, what were they using? A crystal ball? Dude, no way. And what this guy said, we just found a note from the shooter and it said he was going to do it for his beautiful trans girlfriend named Karl Marx, but then a dog ate it. Dude, what the fuck, bro? Yeah, the Ouija board said this note existed, right? They're using witchcraft up in here, boss. Come on, bro. There's no way, dude. There is no way. This is insane, guys. See, this just keeps getting weirder. And again, guys, it is highly unusual to have a partisan representative of a political party, like one of the president's allies, out there giving the PR campaign for this shooting, where we know this guy is Groyper adjacent. Like, watch this. Somebody released this photograph, which is apparently from some Utah convention of like furry animals. And there's this person here, and they're saying that this right here is a photograph of Tyler Robinson. But like, look at the hand sign, guys. You recognize that hand sign? I know you do. I've made videos about it. It's this, right? He's doing the little WP sign. Another Groyper adjacent scenario. Like, there are so many things about this. Like, that kind of shit goes on all the time. The trolling is the objective, okay? Now, I want to watch this video where a woman talks about the Groypers and talks about this Gen Z stuff. I feel like this video is a great starting point for us because, so one of the things complicated about this, guys, is the Gen Z, Gen Alpha breed of people. They are raised entirely on the internet. So they are not going to mimic a lot of what we're used to as far as like young people that commit crimes or do shit. Okay? Like in previous lives, right? Before the internet, in my day and age, if a young person committed some crime, there was like a political reasoning for it, or there was a star worshiping reason for it. But there was like some type of manifesto, some type of meaning that was happening. But now, like the young people online, it's about the trolling more than it's about anything, to where they troll from every side. And I believe, guys, we saw some of this even in the election, even with MAGA, because when you look at like the people Charlie Kirk radicalized, those young white men and women that were out doing the Donald Trump dances on TikTok, I think many of those people that were like fans of Donald Trump, I don't even know if they voted. They just liked his virality. They liked his memeing, and they literally were in it for the troll, to troll the libs. They like getting the libs activated, and trolling the libs is more important than any of the policies. I don't think they even are concerned about the policies whatsoever. If they dislike trans people, they just want to troll the libs. If they dislike, wokeness, they're going to just troll the libs. These people are not about making a specific statement in as much as they're about trolling anyone and everyone they can and creating a reaction in people where you just don't understand it, where you just don't get it, but they all get it, okay? They all get it. And the little group of people doing it, and I did see somebody say about, like, the thing about the Groypers that you have to understand, they're tied to meme culture. Now, the other thing that I want to say about this stuff is this idea that Groypers aren't, like, gay or into trans, like, gender people as far as dating goes is a big fucking, like, misnomer, okay? Because Groypers and those terminally online people, many of them are gay. Many of them are like seek out transgender lovers. They do. A lot of it is like a shame culture, and they have a whole life that their online world doesn't even know about. Okay? And one thing I want to tell you, and the trans people in our audience will know, if you talk to transgender sex workers, you talk to a trans woman sex worker and ask her who her clientele are, and she will tell you that almost all of her clientele are conservative men, okay? Usually white, usually with money and families. The conservative white man is like the biggest connoisseur of transgender sexual activity. No joke, okay? It is mostly conservative people, and it's always been like that, you know? I mean, it's like their closeted nature and the way they hide that shit is part of the reason why they have that animosity and all that negativity they carry. And the thing you have to remember about the Groypers guys is those guys exist in a world where their real lives never intersect with their online life. Those people never meet each other. They have a whole other life that is hidden from their little 4chan, like, dark web, like, you know, Groyper buddies or whatever. You know, none of them act like Nick Fuentes where they're out there making it public. They're all, like, hidden. They're all, like, hidden, dude. So let's watch this video, though. I think this video is a really great explainer.
So by now, a lot of people know that this Tyler boy was a member of the extreme alt-right and a Nick Fuentes superfan and identified as a Groyper. And I am so sorry for you if you Googled what that is and you had to find out this way. But a lot of people don't know how this started. And I think it is time that we talk about Gen Z boys. And when I say Gen Z boys, I am also talking about Gen Alpha because a lot of very young boys, some as young as 10 or 11, are right now being indoctrinated by these dark corners of the internet.
Now, one thing I want to mention is we saw that video with Benny Johnson where I showed you how Benny Johnson is sort of grooming kids with this content. And then there was that video, that 10-year-old boy dressed like Trump telling Benny, "I'm your biggest fan." They are going to work on 6, 7, 8, 10-year-old kids, trying to reach them through TikTok, through YouTube shorts, making these little zingy shorts with politicians' heads on, like, cartoon bodies. They are targeting young men, and they've been doing this for a while.
This Tyler boy and many others like him are simply an end result of a very long, very expensive, and very sophisticated propaganda machine. And it all started with Steve Bannon back in 2005. Now, in 2005, Steve Bannon invested in a video game company called ING, and that video game company failed. But during his time there, he realized that there was this gigantic underground army of bored, angry, directionless young males. And he started thinking that he could possibly use them. He realized that he could potentially build his own army of online trolls and possibly build up their influence to the point where they could influence elections. Now, around 2012, that is when Steve Bannon joined forces with Milo Yiannopoulos. And if you remember who he was basically just like a gigantic internet troll. But he had a very good way of connecting with these young guys. And basically, what he understood was you can't just push these dudes into politics and expect results. What you had to do was manipulate them slowly. And how you manipulate them was through their own grievances. So basically, what he did was he told them, listen, you're a loser living in your mom's basement, and girls don't want you and you can't get a girlfriend, but that is not your fault. You know whose fault that is? Feminists. Social justice warriors.
Dude, think about this, guys. Gamergate. This is what they kicked it up with. right? They found these disaffected young kids in the gaming world, and they started saying, you know what? I get it. Your life sucks. You guys are bummed out, and it's because of the libs. It's because of the woke people. It's because of the feminists. I mean, dude, I literally, when this jives, when I heard this, it jived exactly with my experience of being a woke guy famous in the Fortnite world. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what they did.
Leftists. The woke culture war. And now this massive army of angry young boys had a common enemy. And that common enemy was that there are now brown families in commercials. And there are female game developers. And there's an Asian character in Star Wars.
And there's a trans character in the video game. Or, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a gay character in the Disney movie.
That is when the orange clown appeared. And this was when everything started. Now, I don't need to tell you what came next. You know what came next. We're still living what happened next. But what happened was these young guys were now politically and culturally relevant in a way that they had never been before. But now here's the thing about Frankenstein and his monster. At some point, you are going to lose control of the monster. And that is exactly what happened with the Groypers.
See, that's a really interesting point, right? Because think about this, guys. Think about what happened. So around this same time that Donald Trump came in, Charlie Kirk did TPUSA. And now a lot of people don't know this. The origin story around Charlie Kirk is that, he quit college and he went out and was like, debate me, bro, on college campuses. And he hard worked from the very beginning. But what you guys don't know is that Charlie Kirk's dad was a very wealthy Republican donor, okay? And Charlie Kirk started TPUSA with his dad's money and his dad's connection and a guy named Bill Montgomery, who was this guy who was a conservative activist. He co-founded TPUSA, all right? He's dead now. He died of COVID, of course. But this guy is the guy who started TPUSA. TPUSA was this guy's creation, okay, with Charlie Kirk was like his protege, this guy who had an entire career in marketing. Again, Kirk got sort of ushered into this through his daddy's Republican connections and Republican money. So TPUSA was a targeted creation from a lifetime marketing man, conservative activist, and the son of a huge Republican donor. Okay. Now, what's crazy about this, guys, is how TPUSA, what she just said there about how these incel gamer kids that never had a connection, they were like in their dark basements alone doing video games. It was like TPUSA creating viral content with Charlie Kirk going from college to college sort of brought those gamer people, those incel people, into the limelight. All of a sudden, you could go to a Charlie Kirk thing, and if you got on that mic and asked him a question, you were getting famous, okay? You were part of millions of views, right? So there is now an incentive for young internet people who want to get involved and become influencers to show up and interact with Charlie Kirk. It's the same reason you have people like 𝗙ście𝗶𝗹𝗀 who every time somebody's doing man on the street thing, they come up and say something outrageous because every young girl's trying to be the next 𝗙ście𝗶𝗃. There's now an incentive for people to participate in this outrageous behavior. And all of a sudden, the incels and that incel culture, there was this huge elevation of these disaffected young people that all of a sudden they could get famous and get money. And there was a whole culture available to them. They were like the center attraction. And now she's about to talk about how that got exploited by these far-right groups.
Because a lot of the original members of that troll army became MAGA and are still currently loyal to the Orange Clown to this day. And some of them, you know, grew up and got a job and had a family and don't even care about politics anymore. But this new generation, the younger generation, the guys like Tyler, they are built different. Are not controllable in the same way because they are not actually loyal to any politicians. Like, sure, they kind of like the Orange Clown, but only when he's being funny. They don't actually care. And that is what their movement is based on. And I say movement, but it's not really a movement. It's kind of more of just this ideology. And it's really based in nihilism. It's this idea that, like, who cares? Life is not worth living. Let's just cause chaos. Let's just be trolls. Let's just do it for the lulz.
See, this is interesting because my kid has talked to me about this in his generation. Like he's not in that set, but he has talked about how a lot of young people his age, they were in high school and they didn't even care about getting good grades. They didn't care if they graduated or not. Their operative reason for existing was to fuck with people and just troll and have fun and like fuck it all. Kind of like class clown mentality expanded across their entire existence, where the operative thing was like, what does it matter anyway? The system is rigged, so fuck it. Let's just go out there and burn the whole system in any way possible. And I know that some of that nihilism and some of that sort of fuck it, let's just fuck up the whole system, some of that even it had something to do with a lot of these MAGA voters too, where they don't care politically. And especially if you're like a white man, you are unaffected by politics. You are. Like, even if this country becomes fascist, I'm immune. I will suffer no consequences. I might, because I'm a leftist political commentator, but any white guy who doesn't rock the boat, it will suffer no consequences from fascism or any type of authoritarian regime or any political decision whatsoever. We're immune to it all. So young white guys are especially vulnerable to this because they're protected in a way. They have like a type of privilege that allows them to just say fuck it and they're gonna just get by. You know, it's like, it's super dangerous, man.
Now, these guys are extreme, and when I say extreme, I mean extreme. Like, they hate Charlie because he doesn't go far enough, in their opinion. He's not racist enough. He's a poser. He's a sellout. He's a faker. And if you've ever heard Nick Fuentes speak, you understand that the propaganda that he is spewing is very violent and very dangerous. But at the same time, they also don't care. Tyler was not even affiliated with any party. He never voted. A lot of these guys don't. And I think that is why the mainstream media right now is struggling so hard to explain to people what this is and what happened and what the motive was. Because there truly media, was none.
They don't understand
this is when you see these like desperate MAGA boomers commenting everywhere, still like trying to say, well, no, he was definitely Antifa, because they don't understand the joke. And that is all that matters to these guys. At the end of the day, everything is a joke. And I guarantee you that this Tyler dude, he only did it to make his buddies on 4chan laugh. That's it. It's not deeper than that. And Tyler is not the first, and he's not the last.
Dude, that's scary to think about. Can you imagine to think about that, of somebody who like went and killed Charlie Kirk just to like, you know, impress and make a group of 4chan buddies ooh and ah, right? It's fucking crazy, guys. Literally just like so detached. And yeah, we have a young generation of ticking time bombs. We do. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.